This video will cover legal liability and how it arises. The subsequent videos will cover liability insurance and the types of risks. Let's begin. Ramesh is at a mall where he slips and falls on the wet floor and gets injured. He receives multiple fractures. The visitors were not cautioned about the wet floor. This is negligence from the mall management. This is a legal liability as the mall has to pay for Ramesh's bodily injuries. Legal liability is the monetary damage or loss arising out of negligence or criminal acts. Legal liability is divided into civil and criminal acts, where civil acts are non-intentional, whereas the criminal acts are intentional. Criminal acts are not covered under insurance law. Liability insurance is only provided under legal liability if it is a part of non-intentional acts. Legal liability arises out of tort, contract, and statute. Liability arising out of tort. Negligence can be intentional and non-intentional, which leads to third-party financial loss. For example, an agent at the income tax office whiles away his time till he realizes he has not filed returns for his client. Additionally, due to technical issues, he is unable to file returns in time. The client incurs financial loss. Not meeting turnaround time or missing deadlines may result in third-party financial loss. Let's consider another scenario. The third party provides personal data to register with an e-commerce website. An employee of the website discusses the customer data with his colleague. One colleague plans to misuse the data and hacks the customer account. This is negligence in maintaining third-party data by the website company. Let's look into another scenario. Trees are cut for land development and factories release toxic smoke which increase pollution. This is negligence by not fulfilling corporate responsibilities. Liability arising out of contract is the breach of duty of care and wrongful acts. A contract is usually between the company and third party for their business. If the third party incurs any damage, the company issuing the insurance has to pay the claim. For example, ABC Incorporation manufactures safety helmets for construction workers. A brick falls on the construction worker and the helmet cracks, injuring his skull, and he collapses. The helmet was defective. Hence, legal liability is established against ABC Incorporation. Liability arising out of statute is a breach of the statutory law. The compensation is fixed as it is a strict liability as per the Motor Vehicle Act, Employee Compensation or Workers' Compensation Act, and the Public Liability Act. For example, you get into an accident with a bike. You get injured and your car is busted. The biker is also wounded and his bike is broken. The Motor Vehicle Act covers own damage, third-party property damage, injury, and death. Let's consider another scenario. A worker's arm gets stuck in a cutting machine and he loses his arm. Another worker falls off the ladder while working and hurts himself. Another construction worker is standing below a crane when suddenly a brick falls on his head, injuring him. The Employees' Compensation, earlier known as Workmen Compensation Act, is a policy for the workers covering death or injury during their course of employment. The Public Liability Act is a policy covering third-party damage and injury from the use of hazardous substances. Such liability can lead to financial losses. That's all for legal liability. Let's look at liability insurance and the types of risks covered in the subsequent videos. Watch the next video to understand all about casualty risks.